You don't scare me, man. I'm a tanky hunter, bro. What you know about this hunter, bro? You probably never even seen a hunter like this. Like in the middle of everything in a match. Ah! Oh, I panicked like a little 2 seconds, bro. All right, where do I go? Where do I go? Where do I run to? Oh, you're talking about the hunter. I mean, for the Titan. My bad. Yeah, my bad. Let's see. Bro, I might die. I might die. I might do it. Oh my God. I kind of love it, bro. Like, look, 10 seconds. Like, I already learned, bro. I learned how to play. Like, I played by, you know. So, oh my God. Bro, that is insane. It's crazy to live that, bro, as a hunter, man. Like, I'm literally here in the middle of everything on master content. Getting sniped, getting meleeed, getting burned, like getting stomped by the boss as I'm speaking. Like I'm taking advantage of this. Alrighty guys, so before actually showing you the build, the full build and the mods, I want to show you guys details on how the actual build works and how you chain your abilities to be able to have unlimited heal, unlimited abilities, unlimited class ability, unlimited melee, unlimited grenades. So I'm just gonna first of all throw away my class ability and show you how fast it recharges when I throw my melee. Now my melee, my class ability is empty, and when I throw a melee, it scorches targets. Well, these died immediately, but you see how fast my class ability came back just from using my melee? And whenever I use my class ability next to an enemy, look at my melee, what happens? It gives it back to me. And now when I use my melee again, look at my class ability, it recharges really fast. And whenever I use my class ability, it gives me back my melee. But that's just like the basics. You know, you use your class ability, you get your melee, you use your melee, you get back your class ability. On top of that, as you're killing stuff with your class ability and your solar weapons, you're gonna get this thing called gunpowder gamble. This one is gonna be a pretty big explosion, so you're gonna see a lot of the ads die. And you get that every 5 kills. It doesn't matter if you use your solar weapons, it doesn't matter if you use your nades, it doesn't matter if you use your melee, but you get that every 5 kills. But if you notice, there's a cooldown. 3, 2, 1 before you can start collecting it again. And now if I get a solar kill, you're gonna notice a +1. If you notice a melee kill, you're gonna notice, well, 2. Well, it's already going up. I think you get more depending on what you use, but you saw that I already have gunpowder already back up. If I want to heal, I just use my class ability. Every time I use my class ability, I'm gonna get restoration for 10 seconds. I think it is 10 seconds, I believe. So I'm not dying for literally 10 seconds. If I get a melee kill, it's gonna extend that timer, that restoration timer. If you notice, is 2. Now if I get a weapon kill, it also extends it. There's a lot of things happening with this build, and this one makes it able to chain everything, and it's kind of hard to explain everything because there's so much happening at the same time. So again, when you roll, you get your melee. When you get your melee, you get your class ability. Whenever you get about 5 kills, you get this little crazy grenade that kills everything, that also recharges your class ability. You could also have your class ability empty like I have right now, and you throw your grenade, and you're gonna notice that it's also gonna recharge my class ability. I can throw a melee, it's gonna oh, I missed my melee, but it doesn't matter because if I roll next to an enemy, I get back my melee. And then that gives me back my class ability. On top of all that, my abilities are already chaining themselves. I can use my weapon. My weapon has Scorch. Look what happens when I roll and I have a missing class ability. Look what happens when I get a kill. Look at my class ability, just off of like weapon kills. Look how fast it's going. When it scorches enemies, a crazy regen for my class ability. Again, I'm gonna empty out both of them now. Watch the regen just on weapon kills. Just because it scorches enemies, look how fast it's recharging. But if I decide to throw my melee, it recharges it even faster. If I throw in another class ability, it gives me back my melee. I can throw my grenade and it kills everything. And then rinse and repeat. Melee gives me back my class ability gives me back my melee. And again, I also have it set up so I can get my grenades really fast as well. And I already told you that using my grenades gives me back my class ability. So again, when I throw my grenade, right? Now I'm empty on grenade. I want to get it back, right? I just do a finisher. I get back, well, I couldn't get back my grenade right now because I have that gunpowder gamble. So I got to get rid of gunpowder gamble, and then I should be able to get my grenade with doing the finisher. I just did them both at the exact same time. But now if you notice, my grenade is fully back. I could use my melee, I can use my class ability, I use my melee again, I can throw my grenade, that gives me back my class ability, I have my melee, and then rinse and repeat. At any given time when you feel like you don't have much, which is kind of rare because you're always gonna have your abilities up, but you could always do a finisher or use your weapons. Your weapons are gonna heal you and also give you back your class ability. There's just so much happening, it's kind of hard to explain, but again, I think you guys kind of get the gist of it. Top of that, if you notice these wells, I'm making well mods. Every time I get a melee kill, I make a well mod. Every time I get a grenade kill, let me get my grenade real quick. I already have it right now. I also make, let me show you. It gives me back my class ability, and it also gives me back, what else does it give me back? It also gives me my that grenade. I guess if there was a specific order, it would be throw your melee first, use your class ability, use your grenade to get back your class ability. By now you have your melee, use your melee again, throw your class ability, get back your melee, have your class ability, you have gunpowder active. Like, you have a crazy chain of abilities and crazy amount. Like, what else do you want me to show? Like, I don't know how else to explain how good this build is. And it works really good in master content. Again, I'm not sure about GMs because GMs are not out, but you can see the crazy region of abilities. I don't know how else to kind of explain it. And I know I'm doing like low level content right now, but this works in master, this works in legend, this works in solo legend campaign, this works everywhere. Like, it's a crazy region of abilities, crazy output of damage, good, I don't know, like good heal. Like, what else do you want? Like, you're literally invincible. Well, sometimes. But anyways, let's go ahead and show you guys the actual build. Alrighty, so get into the actual full build to see if I can kind of explain everything. Like always, we're going to start off with the stats and what I recommend. Again, to each their own, everybody has their own recommendations. But as a hunter, you don't need recovery. I know there's 5 recovery, but that's just because my armor has recovery. But you can literally have 0 recovery and you'll be more than fine. I had like armor and builds that had like 2 recovery, and I was doing master dungeons, and again, 0 problem. You don't need recovery on the hunter. And if you want my explanation on why, is because the chain of abilities that you have is going to keep your restoration up for a long time, including your solar weapons, depending on what weapons you want to use. But I recommend using a solar weapon with the hunter because you're going to keep your restoration up every time you use your class ability. You're going to keep your restoration up every time you use your grenade while these timers are up, while you use your melee while these timers are up, is going to give you restoration. I explained this very well on stream because I can show it as I'm explaining it, but again, you're gonna have to take my word for it. You could literally play with 0 recovery. The next thing I recommend, at least the first thing I recommend, or the best thing I recommend for the hunter, it would be its mobility. So first thing, mobility. Second thing, resilience. And third, I would probably go discipline. So again, first mobility, second resilience. Resilience again because you get a crazy damage reduction. If you notice right now, just for having 8, I have a 26% damage reduction. So the more I have, the better. You can go all the way up to 40 if you get to 100. So really good if you can get it to 100. And then finally the discipline. After discipline, you don't need strength at all because you're always going to be chaining your melee with your class ability. So you have unlimited you have unlimited melee, so you don't need your strength. And your super, I guess that would be next. So it'd be mobility, it would be resilience, it would be discipline, it would be, I guess, intellect, because again, you don't need recovery and you don't need strength. You have unlimited recovery and you have unlimited melees as long as you have your class ability, and you have your class ability very constant as long as you're using the right stuff. So that explains the stats. Starting off with the helmet, what we have on the helmet is resilience mod, what is this? Harmonic siphon, which is you create orbs when you use this weapons that match the same damage of your subclass. So I'm making orbs every time I use my solar weapons. I also have here elemental ordnance every time I use my grenade, and I believe that grenade ability, the gunpowder ability, also spawns melee, not melee well makers, but they spawn fire well makers. Well, fire wells, not makers, but you get what I'm saying. As long as you're using your grenades, as long as you're using your abilities, you're going to be making wells. And I have this extra thing from the class ability, which increases the effect of 2 excess. Like if you notice where it says increases the buff effect of 2 excess. And what 2 excess is a thing on my weapon. Every time I get a kill, as long as my super is full, is going to Or is it right here? To excess. Final blows with this weapon while your super is full grants a bonus to strength and discipline for a moderate duration. I believe it's like 10 seconds, but then when I have the mod, it extends it, or I believe it's 5 seconds, and when you have the mod, it mixes up to 10 seconds. So again, I'm going to get a boost to discipline and strength, even though strength is not needed, as long as I get weapons, weapon kills. But this is a bonus because getting weapon kills gives me my class ability, and weapon kills give me restoration, but we're getting to the weapon in a little bit. So that kind of explains the helmet and this extra mod right here. If you wonder how I have this extra mod right here, is because this piece of armor is artifice gear. This is artifice gear for the hunter, and this is what it originally looks like. I just have an overlay over it. Moving on to the next piece, which is the arms. For the arms, what I have is double focusing strike, and that's what gives me my class ability so fast every time I used my melee. I thought I had one of each, where my grenade gives me back my class ability and my melee gives me back my class ability, but it seems like I only had double melee at the moment. So again, a resilience mod, double melee focusing strike, which every time I use my melee ability, it gives me back my class ability. And remember, every time I use my class ability, it gives me back my melee. So this is kind of making the chain event happen. I also have Well of Tenacity, and what Well of Tenacity gives you is, I think, a 30% or a 40% damage resist every time you pick up Avoid Well. The more you know. This is not doing anything. I thought it could be a firewall. It didn't matter. So this has to be changed because it has to be Avoid Well, and this wasn't really doing anything for me. So I could switch this to Elemental Armaments, and what Elemental Armaments is going to do is going to spawn a fire well as long as I use my solar weapons. I'm already using solar weapons. I'm using the Gallahorn. I'm using the sidearm that's solar. So since that's not really doing anything for me, and I thought it was, but you have to pick up a void well to get damage reduction, and I wasn't picking up void wells. I'm picking up fire wells, so that's not really doing anything for me for the build. So this is going to generate more wells for me. It's going to give me back my class ability. It's going to give me back my melee. It's going to give me back my grenades even faster. And also, since I'm using an artifice piece of gear, why is it taking forever to load? I don't know, got a little stuck loading there. But I'm using artifice gear, so it gives me also another extra mod slot. So I'm using anti-barrier for my sidearm, and it comes in really handy against those fat dude with the shields, anything that needs anti-barrier. And I'm already using a solar weapon. It's already to my benefit, so it's adding extra benefit for the sidearm itself. And again, like I said, this is artifice gear. Initially, this is what it looks like. It's artifice from the dungeon on master. So really, really good armor. Moving on to the actual exotic, I'm using the sixth coyote. Again, I'm new to the hunter. I don't main hunter, but this season I am using my hunter and trying to complete everything because it's just so much easier with this fire build. I have here another resilience mod. I have on an arc resist just to be able to activate my powerful friends, because if I don't have this won't activate. If you notice, the second that I took off that arc mod, my mobility dropped. Look what happens when I put this back on. My mobility goes back up, and that's because powerful friends needs to have an arc mod active to be able to give you that extra 20 mobility. So it's just the fact that I'm taking the 20 mobility and I'm getting arc resist and the resist from damage from void and solar. Moving on to the boots. For the boots, what we got going on is another resilience mod. We have a reduced grenades every time we pick up orbs. So I'm already making orbs for my solar weapons. I'm making orbs through just multi-kills. Just orbs help me in general to get my grenade back. And also, like I said earlier in the video, I make a finisher. It gives me back my grenade, but we'll move on to that next one in a bit. I also have here a melee well maker, which every time I get melee kills, so I'm going to constantly have my melee ability up. I'm going to be making solar wells, and solar wells are going to give me back my class ability, going to give me back my grenade. It's going to give me back my abilities pretty fast. So that's why we have melee well maker right there. Going on to the class item, and this is kind of what's keeping us alive. It's classy restoration, and every time we use our class ability, we're going to get restoration for 12 seconds. And that is that crazy region that you see. But on top of that, like I said, as long as you continue to get solar weapon kills, as long as you can continue to get grenade kills, as long as you continue to get melee kills, this is going to reset that 12-second timer to go up and up and up, so you can continue healing as long as you have your abilities. Next thing we have is explosive finisher, which gives me back my grenade. My grenade is one of the least things I have often, so the way I bring it back often is by using my class ability. I mean, not my class ability, but I use my finisher. It uses some of my super, and it gives me back my grenade instantly. It only uses a small chunk, which is pretty worth it in my opinion, mostly since my grenades kind of give me back my class ability. At least I noticed at one point, but I think I could be wrong since I didn't have that mod on earlier in my arms, where if I use my grenades, it gives me back my class ability. But somehow I noticed my class ability going up after I use my grenade. But anyways, a resilience mod, and that is kind of it for the mods and armor for this character. This is kind of what I got him looking like. And moving on to the actual build, I guess, for the fire build. I use Blade Barrage for the damage. It's just insta super, you know, you just throw it and you do chunky damage. For the class ability, I use Gambler's Dodge, and this is the one where you roll and it gives you back your melee ability as long as you roll next to an enemy. So you have to be next to an enemy to roll, and it will give you back your class ability. I have it on triple jump. I haven't really played with any other jumps. Remember, guys, I'm kind of a Titan main. I mean, I do play all characters. I level up all characters. I have pinnacles on all characters. I max out every character every season. But again, I normally play as a Titan, so this kind of hunter stuff is new to me. And like I said, I've been enjoying the hunter so much this season that I have to share this build because I know I'm not the only one. So I have triple jump, and then for the knife, I have knife trick. And the reason I have knife trick on over any other knife is because it scorches your enemy, and scorching targets gives you back your class ability. So that's why I kind of put on that knife. There's, I think, another one that scorches targets, but I think this one is better. And then we have solar grenade. Solar grenade again is just really huge, really big. It does good damage, and it also scorches targets, but I think a lot of the grenades scorches targets, and I want scorched targets because having scorched enemies, if you notice right here, I want to show you your class ability recharges faster when you scorch targets. So the way I'm getting my class ability so fast, other than having 10 mobility, is the fact that, you know, whenever I set enemies on fire, I'm getting back my class ability. So this gives me back my class ability, this gives me back my class ability, and also, I know I'm kind of skipping a little forward, but my weapons give me my class ability. If you notice right here, defeating targets spread scorch to those nearby enemies, and more powerful combatants and opposing guardians cause scorch in large radius. So just shooting I have to at least finish them off, and it gives me scorch, and scorch gives me back my class ability. So that's how I keep healing so quickly and chaining all my abilities, because my class ability is up pretty often. Going on to the aspects, we have on your mark, and on your mark it says precision final blows grant you and nearby allies increased weapon handling and reload. So this is why you don't really need reload on your weapons, because every time you're going to be rolling, you're going to have a crazy reload, and also precision final blows give you a reload speed. So there's really no reason to go even for reload on your weapons, because even with this really slow reload that you notice right here, where's my reload? Even at 30, this thing, look at the difference. I can shoot it right now, reload, look how slow, but the second I shoot it and I roll, look how fast it reloads. So you really don't even need, like, I don't have no sidearm loader, I don't have nothing, so just rolling gives you a crazy reload. Next thing is we have gunpowder gamble, and that is that crazy explosion that you see. I don't know what triggers it, but sometimes I've seen two back to back. Like, I'll use one and then there'll be another one back to back to back. If I have a clip, I'll show it right now on screen. I don't know what triggers that. If you guys know the trick, if you guys know what's going on, explain it to me in the comments. But this is that explosion that you get after getting either 5 ability kills, 5 solar kills, or I think it depends, because depending if you use a grenade, it gives you more. If you use your melee, it gives you more. If you use your gun, it gives you a certain amount. But as long as you're getting solar ability kills, you're going to get this thing on your screen. And then as long as you get 5 of them, you're going to get this crazy extra grenade that you've seen me throw earlier in the clip. Moving on to the actual fragments, we have solar weapons, or final ability extend the effect and duration of restoration and radiant. So this is how we continue to heal, using our abilities, throwing our nades, throwing our knife, throwing our class ability. All this heals us. Using our solar weapons gives us restoration or extends the time of restoration. So you want to make sure you have the perk up first and then start doing all these other activities. The next one is defeating scorched targets grants melee energy. To be honest, I don't need this. Defeating scorched targets grants melee energy. This could be replaced because I told you I have unlimited melee as long as as I'm rolling. So I could have something better here. Instead of defeating scorched targets with melee energy, well, defeating scorched targets grants melee energy. I don't need this because as long as I'm rolling, I'm getting my melee. As long as I'm rolling, I'm getting my melee. So I should put here something that benefits me better. So 2 seconds. All right, so I decided on between either defeating targets with solar ignitions grant grenade energy, and what that is going to do is that every time I have grenade gunpowder thingy, that cool grenade that explodes, is going to give me grenade energy. I would like to see it in action to see how much grenade energy it gives me. So it's between switching this one, the defeating scorched targets grant melee energy. Again, I don't need that because as long as I'm rolling next to an enemy, I'm gonna have my melee back. So I'm gonna switch this to either, you know, ignitions grant grenade energy, or I can get an extra 10 resilience and orbs from, again, using ignition defeats. Says here, rapidly defeating targets with solar ignition, which is what the gunpowder grenade is. I can get my resilience up to 90 and also get that effect, or defeating targets with solar ignitions grant grenade energy. I'm not sure what one I'm going to decide, but again, these are between these two, and I guess you guys know. Moving on to the next one is your class ability recharges faster when you scorch targets. So I explained all my ability scorch targets, so my grenade scorches, my melee scorches, my weapon scorches, all my ability scorch targets, and this is going to give me back my class ability as fast as it does. And finally, we have radiant and restoration effects applied to you have an increased duration, so that whenever I get restoration from scorch, whenever I have restoration active, it's just gonna have an extra time. Whenever I get, I believe, solar weapon kills, whenever I get nade kills, whenever I get whenever I roll and I use my class ability, we're gonna have that extra timer. And I believe that's everything.